Howdy doody! It's Clive from BrewBru here. So today we are going to make a Scottish heavy. Let me tell you what the BGCP guidelines are on a Scottish heavy, okay? So they say it's a lower alcohol, malty beer with light caramel, toast, toffee and fruity flavours. A slight roast dryness often offsets the residual sweetness in the finish, with the bitterness perceived only to keep the beer from being cloying. My kind of beer. So I've been making and drinking a fair bit of IPAs and stouts and just weird and wonderful things. And I just want a beery beer. I was talking to one of my mates last night and I told him I'm going to brew a beery beer. And when I was looking through the BGCB guidelines, I came across Scottish Heavy, which I love. Like when I was younger-ish, I'm still young, younger-ish, 8 shilling, that was my go-to beer. 8 shilling. If they didn't have 8 shilling, then 70 shilling. Especially the Tennant's 8 shilling, peach. So yeah, Scottish Heavy, that's the style I'm going for. So you want that kind of biscuity, malty flavour coming through, toffee, yeah, those kind of caramelly flavours, not hoppy at all. So there will be hops in there, but it's just for bitterness. You're not really going to get much kind of hoppiness, that kind of floral aromas and stuff. No, it's not in a Scottish Heavy, okay? When you smell a Scottish Heavy, it should smell like beer, okay? So that's what I'm going for today. So it's been a while since I think I've brewed with you guys, actually. So I've got my 3-vessel system here on the go. I've actually got 4 technically. You can probably see the fermenter over there. It's still got some stout in it, I think. A little bit that I need to just put into a smaller keg. Then I got my my kettle here, which I have preheated my strike water with. I've got my mash tun here. I've got all my grains already crushed and put in there. Recipe can be found below if you want it. It's my version of a Scottish Heavy. Do what you like. It's based on ingredients that I had. Otter is also the key base malt here, because naturally it just gives you that kind of biscuity, malty flavour. Absolutely brilliant. And then I've also got another HLT here, which I'm going to be using to do a recirculation on the mash, okay? So I'm going to put some hot water in here. I've got a thingy, my bob, curly whirly thing. Mine's gone blank this morning. Anyway, got one of them. And I'm basically going to recirculate the wort. So I've got the wort coming out of my mash tun. Okay, I'll get recirculated through a pump up here, through my, why can I not remember the name of that curly whirly? Anyway, through there, which will heat it up to the desired temperature. So I'll put my Inkbird in here to make sure that the temperature in here is spot on, and then it will get recirculated back into the top of the mash until it goes down. So yeah, just kind of will help clarity, will help with fermentation, should keep our kind of brew house efficiency nice and high as well. So I'm gonna get a move on. I'm not gonna be recording tons today because have a look at my other videos if you want a kind of full in-depth kind of brew session. But yeah, keep it interesting. And I am gonna, because I'm doing a larger batch here, so it'll be kind of 10-ish gallons. So we'll be going into the fermenter, 45, 46 litres hopefully. Fermenters, and that's the key thing, okay? So I'm gonna use my good old SS Brewtech Chronicle. That will be one of the fermenters. And I've got another SS Brewtech, not the same, it's not the Chronicle, it's just the normal kind of brew bucket thing. And I'm going to try 2 different kinds of yeast. So one is going to be CML4, Cross My Lift 4, which is pretty much Safel USO4. And then the other one, undecided yet. I'm going to have a look to see what I've got in the fridge here. And I'm going to pitch yeast, a different kind of yeast, into the other fermenter. I will just do a little bit of side by side to see which is better. Maybe they're not better, maybe they're just different, but we'll do a little bit side by side as well. But anyway, I will record a few bits and pieces for you. Enjoy. Any question, stick them down below. And I have to say it, don't I? Subscribe, like, all that other YouTubey stuff that you love to do. I don't know. Anyway, let's get going. Well, mash is underway. Let me give you a quick lowdown what we've got here. So, as I mentioned, we've got the flow coming out of the mash tun. I control flow rate using this valve here, coming into our pump, Was it up here? Was it into our curly whirly, which I still can't remember the name of. I've got an ink bird hooked up here, so it's setting at the moment 72 degrees. And then what that means is, as it goes round there, gets recirculated, gets heated up, and then back into the top of our mash tun. And then what we've got coming out here is clearish wort, and yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we're hitting 67, between 67 and 68, which is pretty much bang on. I'm going for a slightly higher mash temperature, with the idea that we get those kind of bigger molecules, and that should give kind of better mouthfeel, should give more body to the beer, little bit of sweetness, and also means that we shouldn't get so high an alcohol level. So our ABV will be relatively low, but should still taste delicious, I hope. So yeah, we're well underway just now. The kettle is now empty, ready for the wort to transfer in. Ended up doing 32 litres into the mash tun. I pretty much filled it up, and then topped our other kettle up, ready to sparge later on. So yeah, it's all going good so far. Woo! All right, mash is complete. Woo! So I'm just transferring it now. So just we rejigged our pump a little bit. Let me show you. Okay, so we got our flow as it was before, coming out our mash tun into the pump, but rather than going through our, oh, it's so annoying, I can't remember what it's called. I'll remember, I'll tell you in a minute. So yeah, instead of going through our HLT here, we're just going straight into our kettle. And again, we've got the ability to be able to adjust the flow of this. We've got some lovely clear wort going into the kettle here. As soon as that gets above the elements in here, then we'll whack the kettle elements on so we can start to bring that to temperature. I am going to sparge this as well, so it's coming down fairly nicely. Just nice and quietly. I'm not going to do any fancy sparge. Literally all I'm going to do is use a jug to take the water out of here, into here, and away we go. So yeah, just let it complete. So I'll give you a quick look in the kettle once a little bit more wort is transferred, because it's so exciting in there. It's an immersion chiller. Ooh. You can't even see what I'm doing. This off camera. I'm just being stupid. I'm just being stupid. This is 16 litres, because I forget how many I've sparged. See, no fancy pants techniques here, just jug, water, bosh. Lovely rolling boil, and what a beautiful colour. Happy with that. Yo, quick update for you. So just been out walking the dogs, hence change of attire. And meantime, it's boiled for an hour-ish. We've got our immersion chiller, remember the name of it now, in here. So we've got cold water coming in just from the tap, in here, recirculates, comes out here, warmish. I don't have any use for warm water today, so it's just going down the drain. Sad, I know, but it's Scotland, right? No shortage of water, trust me. So I'm just waiting for this to cool. Meantime, I've given my fermenters a right good clear out. They're star sanding. Have a quick look. So I got my got my Chronicle here, and then my little brew bucket. So they are both ready. Still got a little bit of sanitizer in them, which I'll wash out just before we stick it in. And I've also decided on my yeasts. So I had a good look through. I've got quite a lot of, I've switched to dry yeasts. Used to use liquid yeast. I've done starters, I've done yeast harvesting, and now I just find these so much easier, right? I never really know when I'm going to brew, right? And to get liquid yeast in, it means I've got to put an order in, and then you're talking about delivery and stuff. It's just a little bit of faff. Dry yeast, I can have a good selection in the fridge. They go off, in my experience, just as quickly. They're just as good. A lot of the big breweries are using dry yeast as well. If they can do it and it works well for them, why not for me as well? So the two that I've gone for today is Cross My Loaf 4, which as I mentioned earlier is a bit like Safel USO 4, and Cross My Loaf, the firm. Cross My Loaf, by the way, if you've not come across them, awesome company. Recently been taken over, but still absolutely awesome. Do some cracking yeast, brilliant prices too. So the firm, this is the one that, I don't think I've used this before now. It probably goes by other names, but it says it's suitable to brew malty and low ABV beers. So that's pretty much exactly what this is. It's malty, it's low ABV. It says attenuation is low to medium, fermentation 15 to 22 degrees, and it's obviously just Saccharomyces cerevisiae standard yeast. Jobs are good, and so I'm interested actually to see what difference, if any, we see in the final taste. But meantime, I just need to get this cooled. We're at 40-ish degrees at the moment, so we'll get it down to pitch and temperature 21 degrees, get it in the fermenters, stick the yeast in, and then hopefully tomorrow morning we'll have some so anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now, get this cooled, and away we go. Here's my BrewBru friends! Woo! BrewBru, help me brew! They're not really, they're just a nuisance. Ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff. Where's the brew dogs? Where's the brew dogs? Ha ha! Ha! What are you saying, Isla Paila? Ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff. Bubbles. And bubbles. So the beer on the left was fermented with the 4, and the one on the right was fermented with the firm. So left 3.6, right 3.1. You can see, interestingly, the one on the right, better head retention. I did have a slight issue with a keg on the left, in that the seal wasn't 100%. But even so, yeah, I would not expect the head to be that much different. So that's an interesting first point. But let's taste them. Okay, so this is the 4. This yeast 4. So this is the 3.6. I mean, it's just exactly what you want a Scotch heavy to be. Probably needs a little bit more carbonation in this. Ideally, that you want this pulled from a cask actually rather than a keg, and probably needs a little bit more carbonation, which, like I mentioned, has a slight keg issue with the seal, but that's getting sorted. But very tasty, just tastes like beer, beery McBeerface. That's what this is. Yeah, tastes lovely, just really malty, bitter but not too bitter. Doesn't kind of linger too much. Once you go back, once you go back for another mouthful, really tasty, and at 3.6%. I mean, that's a session beer. So this one, there's slightly different conditions with this one actually. So you'll notice for a start that it's not quite as clear, okay? Now this keg has not been in my fridge. It has been cold in the garage, but it's not been in the fridge. It's also not been under pressure for quite as long. And it's been under CO2 in slightly warmer temperature compared to the fridge, which is down at like 2 or 3 degrees. And also this is the first pint, the first glass that's been poured from that keg, whereas the other one, I have to admit, I've had a few of them already, okay? So all that kind of stuff that would start to settle to the bottom of the keg will have been pulled in that one already. So it is going to be brighter and clearer. However, head retention on this one does impress me, I have to say. Also does need just a little bit more carbonation. Very similar, probably not quite as bitter. Very easy drinking. There's a slight, I want to say fruity, but it's not fruity, almost like raisins. possibly, but very tasty. Yeah, I mean, I would happily sit and drink that. And actually, I say it needs more carbonation. It's actually really easy to drink just like that, because it does taste slightly more like a cask beer. And even with that, just a little bit of head on it, that it's keeping really well. Very impressive. So that's the firm that yeast is. So that's the one that does not attenuate as much. And probably why we're kind of not quite as clear as well. And probably because it leaves more proteins, etc. in the beer. That's probably why we've got a little bit better head retention as well. And also because it doesn't attenuate so highly, therefore you get lower ABV. But, I mean, really tasty. Probably slightly more watery than the 3.6, but both of them, I will be happy drinking them both. So overall, nice, easy, Scottish heavy, 70 shilling, 80 shilling, bang on the money. Get brewing. Over and out.